Hi everyone, my name is Arvin Olano and welcome to my YouTube channel. So nobody asked, but in today's video, I am going to be talking about why being cheap is expensive. I'm going to be talking about why being cheap is going to cost you more money. Before we get into it, I do want to say thank you so much to Vitruvi for sponsoring today's video. Vitruvi needs no introduction here on my channel. I've been using their diffusers since, oh my goodness, 2019. You know, when it comes to our home, we invest in beautiful pieces and furniture and home decor, but when it comes to conventional home scenting products, the options are very limited. Products usually mask odors or just take them away. The air around us should... The air in our home should make us feel lighter and even boost our mood. Do you see how much is coming out of this device? It is so strong and potent. The Move diffuser is the perfect party trick. I love having this in an entryway so that when my guests come in, it smells really nice in the house. I also love having one in the guest bathroom. That way, anytime I have people over, I know it's gonna smell so good in there. The Move diffuser is my favorite for obvious reasons because it's cordless. All you have to do is charge it up and you can bring it with you from room to room. Vitruvi's packaging is not only beautiful, it's 100% recyclable. Right now, I'm diffusing Legacy, which is Vitruvi's new signature scent. It was blended by their co-founder, Sarah Panton. I actually got to chat with her about the brand, and it was so inspiring. Legacy is a very grounding scent. It has top notes of bergamot, lavender, and rose, and bottom notes of frankincense and cedarwood. Make the air yours with Vitruvi. Click the link in my description box. Use my code ARVIN to save 20% off. The first thing that's going to cost you more money is when you hire cheap labor. Now hear me out. This happened to me when Andrew and I first moved in and we started doing renovations here in our home. Now, our home is old, it was built in the 1970s, and we had popcorn ceiling, orange peel textured walls, and I hated the way it looked. So we actually got a few quotes from contractors that were going to smooth out our walls, smooth out our ceiling, and I decided to be cheap, okay? And I went with the cheapest option out of the three quotes. Now, it was all going well, you know, in the first day or two, but when it came down to the nitty-gritty, we were already a week into the project and the office was still not done, and I didn't know this contractor was going to be working alone. The rest of the house took another month or so to be completely finished with paint and smoothing and cleaning up, and it was just a nightmare, you guys, because we were still living here at home, and I just wish that I spent a little bit more money. Not only that, but my office did not turn out the way I wanted it to be. The walls had all these imperfections and bumps and lumps, and I honestly almost cried. It just wasn't what I was expecting, and I couldn't do it all over again. We already spent thousands of dollars with this guy, and you know what? Lesson learned. And the lesson that I learned here was I should be asking the right questions before hiring somebody, and don't pick the cheapest person, okay? Just don't do it. I was very new at the time to the world of interior, so be nice to me in the comments. So first, anytime you hire someone to do work in your house, make sure you ask them how many people are going to be working in this project, how long is this going to take, and how many hours are you going to be working in our house for this project? Because that guy that we hired only worked about 4 hours a day, which is why it took almost a month to complete this project. And you know what? We had to redo the office walls a second time, which just cost me so much more money. I should have just hired the best that I could afford at the time, but instead, you know, I was being cheap. The next thing that's going to cost you more money if you are being cheap is a cheap TV. Listen, we love our TV time here in our home. And you know, we didn't do much research when we were buying our first TV here for our home. I really just wanted to buy something cheap, and so we did. Now, if you love your TV time like we do, there is a difference from, a cheap little TV to, for example, our favorite TV, which is our Sony Bravia. A cheap TV is just not going to give you the most beautiful picture quality. The movies you watch, the shows you watch, it's gonna look blurry, the colors won't be as vibrant, and when you're watching those darker, like, horror scenes, it will be hard to see those light and dark contrast elements when you buy a cheap TV. And you know what? I just don't want to buy a new TV every year. I just wish I did the research and went for the best one that I can afford. The viewing experience was like night and day. Our cheap TV was just horrible, and our Sony Bravia is just like, chef's kiss. We love it so much. We don't even need to use like an additional speaker for the TV because the Sony Bravia is so good. The colors are so vibrant. The contrast so good. And I would recommend the Sony Bravia 100 times over. It's actually better than the Frame TV, which we actually have in our main TV room. So if you're looking for a TV, the Sony Bravia, she's a good one. This next thing that you shouldn't be cheap on is paint. And you're probably like, paint? Yes, paint. When you are painting your entire house, I highly recommend that you go for the paint that's just a little bit more expensive, because not only if you're doing your paint yourself, if you decide to go for the cheapest paint possible, the quality is just not going to be there. Especially if you're going to paint your house yourself, it's gonna take you more coats, the mistakes are going to be costly. Take it from me, I tried painting my office before and I can't do the cutting, I don't know how much I should roll on, and at the end of the day, my paint job was not the best. It was looking clumpy, it was looking like, just not good. When you invest in a higher quality paint, you are going to see and feel the difference. We used Simply White by Benjamin Moore for most of our home, and I think we chose the Regal paint, and even the painter that we hired said they recommend going for the higher quality paint because it's gonna go on much more smoothly, and most times you're only going to need 1 to 2 coats to get that full coverage. The next thing that's gonna cost you more money is if you don't buy what you truly want the first time around. I have learned this lesson time and time and time again. I see something that's maybe a little bit expensive and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try to find a dupe. I'm gonna try to find something that's a little bit less expensive because I was being cheap, okay? And most times, that cheap item that I bought is just like not exactly what I want. It's not gonna live up to the design, maybe the quality isn't there. And I'm not saying that buying dupes or buying something similar from what you really want will always end up a disaster. But, when you're decorating your home, you want to pick and choose where you want to invest and where you want to save on a little bit. That's why I'm always sharing these experiences with you and really recommending that you go slow when you decorate your home, because you can easily get caught up in the, I want to finish everything right away, so I'll buy something that's cheap and I'll buy something that's a lookalike from what I really want. And trust me, if you really love something and it's within your budget, wait a little bit, get that something that you truly love instead of settling for less. The next thing that I think you shouldn't cheap out on is fabric. Cheap fabric is something that you can spot from a mile away. It is everywhere, and usually they're made out of man-made materials. For example, polyester and just all the nasty, think like fast fashion, right? When you buy something that's made out of a cheap fabric, you can tell it's not gonna be as soft, it's not gonna hold up in the wash, and you can really see it, especially in cheap bedding. there's nothing worse than cheap bedding. You can just feel it right away, and you can see it right away, especially when they're printed fabrics. It's just not gonna be as nice. And if you're looking for affordable bedding, I have a lot of recommendations that I swear by from Target and even from Amazon, which I will link all of those down below in the description box. But I am a firm believer in investing in your sleep and investing in really beautiful fabrics that will last you wash after wash after wash. You don't want something that will look tired and aged over time. You want something that will get better with age, which is why I actually love linen. I am a linen queen through and through. The next thing that's going to cost you more money is when you buy something just because it's cheap or on sale. And again, I've done this so many times. I'm walking through a store or maybe even like a furniture outlet, and I see something and it's discounted, it's on sale, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is such a good deal. I think I'm gonna buy it. And I take it home, and you know what? I don't even have a spot for this item, and I spent money. It's gonna end up in the garage, and it's never gonna see the light of day. Anytime I see something on sale or at an outlet, I have a little checklist that I go by just to make sure that I'm not just, excited because it's on sale. The first thing I ask myself is, does this item actually match my interior design style? And if it doesn't, I'm gonna walk away. The next thing I'm going to ask is, will this piece look good next to at least 2 pieces that I already have in my home? Will it look good with the sofa in my living room? Will it look great next to my bed? And if I can't say yes to any of these questions, it's probably not a good idea. The last thing I'm going to ask myself, is it the right size for my shelf? Is it going to be too bulky in my living room? Is it going to be too heavy for me to move around? Listen, I like to move my things all the time. You guys know that. And if something is too heavy, well, it's just gonna stay in one spot. So next time you see something on sale, try to ask yourself some of these questions before you pull the trigger. This last point is probably obvious, but I'm just gonna say it again, and that is, don't go cheap on your sofa. The sofa is like one of the most important purchases you're going to be making for your home. And if you go cheap, you're just going to regret it. A cheap sofa won't last you as long. It's not gonna look as nice. There are not gonna be as many design qualities when it comes to a cheap sofa. Take a look at the seam lines, the cushion, and overall, cheap sofas are just not a good idea. I actually have a whole video talking about my favorite sofas that hopefully will give you some inspiration and see what I look for when it comes to sofas. And you know what? A good sofa can last a lifetime. Consider buying something vintage, consider buying something on Facebook Marketplace, and make sure you test it out. Consider all of the things like comfort, design, quality before you pull the trigger on a sofa. All right, everyone, that was it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And don't go yet, watch this video next, and I will see you in that video. Bye, everyone.